Okay. Right, here we go. Just share my screen. All right. So, going to talk about Teams. So, Teams is kind of one of the key tools within the Microsoft 365 tool set, and this is one of the tools that's going to make a significant amount of difference to you. So currently I know some of you are using Skype. I think, you know, some teams are using it quite significantly, other teams are using it far less to do instant messaging, etc. So you get that sort of functionality but a better quality version of it within Teams. Whilst you are in 365 and your colleagues aren't, again, as I've mentioned before, they're not going to know if you're available or not, because you can see your presence when you're logged into Skype. Because you'll be in Teams, and Teams is a completely separate tool to Skype. They're not going to be able to see if you're available or not. So that will just cause a bit of kind of a challenge until we transfer everybody else into 365. But then that problem goes away. The other issue is calendars, because they won't be able to see your calendar either when you're in M365 and vice versa, because we're taking out the environment you're in and we're putting you into a new environment. Okay, so let's have a little look at a chat about Teams as a tool to start off with then. So we'll have a little look at it, you know, the which tool when diagram that we use. We'll talk a bit about the benefits about using Teams for communication. And we're going to focus on chat, meetings, calling, making calls in Teams in this session. There is a whole load of other functionality that Teams has, but we'll do that in a separate session, because you can create files and folders within your Teams environment and give your colleagues access to that, but we'll do that in a separate session. So starting, you know, about where Teams sits. So Teams is kind of the flagship tool really for Microsoft. It's not Zoom, okay, because it's got far more functionality than Zoom has got, because Zoom is a, you know, one-trick pony, as it were. It's about meetings and having online meetings. So Teams will do above and beyond what you've got in Zoom capability. And it's part of the personal productivity tool sets as well. So when you remember the loops that we've got, so it's not only the collaboration piece in the outer loop where you've got SharePoint and other tools, but it's also something that you can use day in, day out. I think it's safe to say, and I don't exaggerate, using Teams in FSP has completely changed the way that we work. So we've been using Teams for about 2.5 years or so now, pretty much since it was launched. And we've seen over that period of time lots and lots of development in terms of the product. The whole of the 365 tool set is evergreen. So that means that basically Microsoft will continue to update functionality. You'll see new features and benefits throughout there. So you can log in one day and go, oh, hang on a minute, didn't do that before. So it will keep updating in terms of look and feel and your capability or its capability as you use it. So basically, we're looking at our collab section here. If you remember, we've got whiteboard, planner, forms. These bits, whiteboard, planner and forms, are all functionality parts of Teams as well. So you can, you know, you can create forms in Teams, you can create planner cards in Teams, and you can use whiteboard in Teams as well. So in terms of sort of which tool when, this is very much about the communication and collaboration piece of 365. So with the communication being around voice and video, instant messaging, so your chat, hosting and attending meetings. So that's the bits we're going to cover off today. Okay, and leave the rest for later on. Okay, so our 6 reasons, and again, we'll put this out so everybody can see it. We'll publish it across the business. So you know, why are we using Teams? So you can chat really quickly. So if you think about your Skype instant messaging, okay, it means you can get hold of your colleagues now, ping them a message, really short message. Doesn't need to be an email like, are you available? You can do all that in Teams. It will significantly and has significantly reduced the amount of email traffic that we have in FSP. My go-to is to do a chat rather than send somebody an email, okay? Because I don't need to send them an email, and it takes far less effort to create a chat than it does to send people an email. People who Get the chat are the only people who see it. You can send chats to multiple people. You can send chats to the whole organisation if you wanted to. There is no kind of number too big or too small. Only those in the chat get to see the chat, and you can add people in and take them out of conversations as well as you need to. So there's lots of options around chat. We'll talk about meetings. You're starting to get used to meetings, obviously, because we're working within Teams when we're doing these sessions. But really easy to host meetings, set them up internally and externally. There's a whole range of tools within the meetings that we'll talk a little bit about later. And also, you know, you can do the face-to-face conversations. So if I wanted to get hold of a colleague and I'm thinking a chat to it'll take me too long to type it. I can just go, are you available? Can we have 2 minutes? And I can video call them directly from that chat. But we'll show you all that, as I say, show you that functionality shortly. It just really does increase productivity and speeds up how you work and your ways of working. You know, you don't have to come out of what you're doing into Outlook, create an email, carry on with what you're doing, go back into email, check whether or not somebody's responded. All that kind of stuff goes away. Okay, so I'm going to, you'll get the deck obviously to have a look at. We'll put it into Skillbox, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a demo because it's more kind of real life in terms of showing the experience. And again, I'm going to use my FSP environment, guys, because that's set up and working quite significantly. So welcome to Teams. Okay, so what you see at the moment, I'm in my Teams channels right here. So you can see I've got Titarian folders in here. So that's the stuff we'll talk about next time. But what we're going to focus on are these three things at the top here: activity, chat, and then we'll go into, I'm not going to cover that off actually, and then we'll go into calls as well. So on the top left-hand side, your activity button basically is a bit like your notifications. So if you think about your notifications, if you use Facebook, for example, this is exactly the same sort of thing. So for example, you can see a little bit earlier on, like literally a few minutes ago, I sent my colleague Aphrodite a message in chat, and she has given me a thumbs up because she's read it. Okay, so this is just my feed. It tells me what's going on. It's done in date and time order. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4 things on there this morning, and then I go back to the 3rd to Friday, and it will capture, depending on how much you've got, activity you've got, about 3 months worth of content in here. And it will just show you all the content and stuff that's been going on. If somebody's reacted to a comment, for example, if I've been mentioned somewhere. And this is my go-to to find out what's going on, whether I've missed something, etc., etc. So you see there, Isabel's mentioned me in a feed, in a channel, etc., etc. Okay, so I can see what's going on in here. Best advice for Teams is click on stuff. All right, so if I click over here into in my chat, okay, I can filter. So if I filtered messages by Gemma, for example, anything that Gemma sent me, I can see that in here. So the filter functionality is quite good. Remember, when you're thinking, oh, hang on a minute, just close the filter down. Okay. So also in here, I've got a settings button. If I click in settings, what it does is it gives me control over my notifications. Okay, so I can change settings. For example, you know, how often do I get an email notification into my Outlook that something's happened? So at the moment, my setting is as soon as possible, but I could change the frequency of that, or I can turn it off completely. Okay, so I've got the choice to do that. But in your settings, you've got all the functionality in here to change your look and feel. So into dark mode, for example, say my notifications, what I'm going to see, I can go in and edit. And this tells me how I'm going to get my pop-ups notifications on my screen. Okay, so let's take you into chat and I'll explain all these bits and pieces when we're actually in chat. Okay, so we go. Clicking on my chat button. Can you see I've got a little red 4 in that circle there? Hopefully it's big enough. That's because I've got 4 messages in there that I've not yet read. So anything that I've not read is going to be in bold. Okay, anything that I have read is going to go to normal font. Okay, And again, in chat, you can see on here, I've got all those chats in date and time. Okay. Starting with the most recent at the top. And also, can you see next to these, I wonder if I can make it a bit bigger. No, I can't. Oh, there we go. It's a little bit bigger. So with these, can you see I've got these little sort of diagrams? I know that's ridiculous, isn't it? Make it a bit smaller. Okay. So you can see next to anybody's name. Now it's going to go all the way back to the Swanist. If you want to make the screen that you're looking at bigger, if you've got a mouse with a scroll button on, hold down Control on the screen that you're looking at, the main screen, and then use the scroll button and it will make the screen bigger for you individually. Let me just try if I can just make it, if I don't do it so viciously. There we go. So you can see, for example, next to somebody's chat, I get their little photo. And where they've got their photo, can you see these different colours? So there's a red against David. There's a circle, a yellow one there with Isabel, for example, with a little clock face. So this shows me their presence. Okay, so in the same way that you get presence in Skype, if you're using Skype, this shows me their availability. So I know David's not available. He's in a meeting because he's got that red circle against his name. Isabel is away currently, so she's not logged in. That's because she's working off a home office device at the moment. So in her FSP environment, she's shown as being away. She's not, but I wouldn't know that if I didn't work in it with her. You can see Amber is not available. Amber doesn't work on a Monday. Anyone got green? There we go. So there we go. Alex is available. He's got a green tick against his name. Okay, so you get various sort of codes for availability, basically, in terms of the different colours on the screens. Okay, and the other thing that I can do is wherever you see somebody's picture, I can hover over their picture and it will open up their little business card. So from there, I get to see, I can send Jill a quick message immediately from here. I can see where she sits in our organisation structure. I can make a video call to her. I can make a phone call to her. Okay, so wherever you see somebody's card, their picture in Teams, you can hover over that picture and get all their details from that. Okay, I also see the reporting line. That's wrong because she's actually reports to me. Hey, we need to change that in the structure. So that's helpful if you're looking to send somebody a chat and you don't know whether or not they're available. So to create a new chat, basically all I'm going to do, sorry, just show the filter. Again, we can filter here as well. All right, so again, I can filter by name. So if I'm looking for somebody in particular, I can also filter by meetings. So when you create a chat in a meeting, okay, you automatically have that chat retained. Okay, so this is the meeting that we're in currently, this one here. So it tells me that the recording has started. If we go back to a previous one, there we go. So there's the session I did last week on Yammer. I know it's a meeting because it's got this little meeting icon, okay, with a little calendar on it. I can click into here and the chat still is retained, which is really useful, actually. It's really useful for people to go back in. You can continue the conversation you were having around that topic here as well. But it shows me, so this is the one we did last week. So I can see, look, Matthew, etc. were invited. I can see everybody that joined that meeting. I can see the questions that were asked. So I can do some FAQs from here, some frequently asked questions. And then also I can access a recording of the meeting from here as well that I can then forward over to Kaylee. All right, so there's a lot of information behind there. One other thing to show you on here is if we look at a chat, so if I go and look at this is one of our team chats. I can also, if I hover over the message, it changes colour. I can pop it out So it means I can read it on a second screen. So that's just opened on my other monitor. There we go. So pop out their chat. So I can have that on another monitor. I can have multiple chats open at any one time. I don't tend to do that. My colleague Isabel does it all the time. I just end up with a million windows open. But you can pop it out so it pops out of the screen in a new window. Or if I click on these three little buttons, okay, these three little dots are called ellipses, and you'll see them all over Teams. Okay, so if I click on the ellipses, the three dots, again, I can pop out the chat from here. I can mark a message as unread, so I might take a glance at it and go, all right, I need to deal with that later. It needs a proper response. So I can mark it as unread and go back to that message later on. I'll come on to pinning in a minute. If it's a busy chat and there's lots of conversation going on and it's distracting me, I can mute it. So it's basically, I'm turning off my notifications for it. Don't worry about this, worry about managing apps. And I can also leave a discussion. If I no longer need to be a part of that group, I can choose to leave it. Okay. So let's see if I can find one of my training chats. No, it's probably too old now. It's not showing up on my list. Okay, so if I come into if I want to create a new chat, what I'm going to do, can you see this little button on the top here, which looks like a pencil or a pen and a piece of paper? So click into there and it's going to open me a chat screen. Okay, from here, I can start creating a chat. So I pick who I want to chat with and I can add them to the conversation. I can add multiple people in. Okay, so I can create a chat here by Kaylee and Rachel. When you start typing their name, okay, their name will appear in the drop down and you can select their name from that list. Okay, so I can select the people who I want to chat with. Okay, so from here, what I need to do is start creating my chat. So what I'm going to do is type in my both test chat for training. That's my face. Okay, so basically I can put my chat in here. When I click this little arrow here, that is going to create my chat. Okay, it's going to send it. So Kaylee, who's on the call, is going to get a message from me, basically, to create that chat. Oh, is it gone? Where did that go then? How random is that? It's never happened before. Go back to it. Here we go. 2 secs. Typically my Teams has been playing up this morning. Okay, this is where I can't type and talk at the same time. Okay, let's try again. Send. Oh, failed to send. What's going on? Is my connection okay, guys? Can you hear me okay? It's not my internet's dropping out, is it? It's gone now. It's worked. All right. Not seen that before. It's not happened for a while. Unless my connection is dropping in and out. So you can see I've then created that chat with Kaylee and Rachel. So that'll be retained. Can you see it's come up on my list there? Because that's the one I've just had there. Okay, it's the call I've just set up there. And from here, also what I can do is I can add other people into this chat. Okay, so can you see this little people icon over here? If I click in here, it shows me who's in this group. So now it's me, Kaylee, Rachel. From here, I can add people in. All I do is type their name in. Okay, select them, and I can just add them to the chat. Okay. This is playing at Big Start. I'm going to do one with an internal thing. This shouldn't be doing this. Bear with me. It's typical, isn't it? When I want, okay. I'm going to pick a couple of my colleagues who I wouldn't have put in a group yet. Henry. Oh, it's proper playing up. There we go. Come on. There we go. All right. So. Okay, let's try again. Chat. Done. It's properly slow. Give me 30 seconds, guys. I'm just going to close it down and start it again. Hold on. Right, let's try this. That seems better. Okay, it's faster now as well. It's having a moment. Okay. Okay, so there we go. Oh, it's really not happy this morning. How typical is this? Anyway, do you know what? I'm going to stop doing that and move on. Okay, so let's go back to my conversation here. Okay, so as I said, we were talking about chats, etc. So the other thing that you can do, can you see on this particular chat, we've put a name on it. So if you want to add a name to a chat, basically, if you click into the toolbar here, the top toolbar, you get a little pencil icon. Okay, so and you can give that group a name. I can change the name in here if I wanted to. The purpose of giving a chat a name, especially if you've got multiple groups of colleagues in chats, is to find out which conversation you're having, because you might have different combinations of colleagues in a conversation, and when you've got lots of them in the conversation, rather than scrolling through your list trying to work out who do I need to contact on this one, if you give that chat a name, then it just makes it a lot easier to find it. Okay, so you can do that. It's a really worthwhile activity to name your chats. Okay, you can see over here, I've got 7 people in this group. Can you see? Amber, Kelly, Jill, Isabel, etc. So this is all the change team in this group. And let's say from here, I can add people, or I can choose to leave the group from this side as well if I wanted to or needed to. All right. Now, on the top of every chat, whether it's an individual chat or a group chat, you'll see these little icons. So wherever you see a video camera icon or a phone icon, phone handset icon, then basically you can call your colleagues where you see that happening. So you remember that if we hovered over an icon there, I could call David from here. I can do a video chat or I can do a phone chat. Basically, phone chat is exactly the same as video, but you don't get the video functionality on your screen. So you can also use Teams off a mobile device, obviously, or off an iPad. So again, you don't have to use a video functionality if you don't want to. So from here, if I click on the camera icon there, what it would do is it would kick me out of this call, all right, and it would start calling everybody within that group. So if you need to get hold of a team quickly, it's a really easy way to get everybody on a call straight away on the condition that they're available, obviously. So as I said, we've got 7 people in this group. If I clicked on that icon there, it would automatically create that call, that video call, and it would start dialing everybody within that group. All right. So it just makes it really easy for people to access. Okay. So this one here, you said I could, if it's a simple quick message, I'm just going to punch it into the toolbar on the bottom here, into my chat bar. and press enter. Now you'll also have some additional functionality within chat. So if I click on the first icon, which is the A and the pencil, okay, this gives me a bit more space to type into. So I can type a message in here. I can use there's a little bit of functionality here for things like I can make things bold. I can add in bullet points, for example. Okay, there's a bit of functionality in here. It's not really classy. You don't need it. At the end of the day, it's like instant messaging. You don't need loads of functionality in here. Also, if I click on the ellipses again, it opens a menu with some additional functionality in there. All right. Also in here, can you see this exclamation mark? Okay, here. So this basically, if you use this functionality, let me do it in the one to Isabel rather than doing it to Amber, maybe, because she's off today. Okay, so I've typed in Amber's name. I can find Amber on my list, and then it opens up my chat with Amber. Okay, so if I go to this option here, so what I have here is an option to make a message urgent. All right, so a standard message is just going to get pinged through to whoever. If you mark it as important, it will get a little exclamation mark. So if I mark that message as important, okay, can you see? It comes up with importance at the top. I post it, and that's how it looks on the screen, right? The other thing you've got is urgent. Now, my recommendation is don't abuse the urgent bit, right? Because it'll really start to hack people off. And basically, if you mark a message as urgent, it will notify somebody every 2 minutes for 20 minutes that there's a message they need to read because it's urgent. All right, so it has to be genuinely urgent that you want somebody to contact you, because they will literally get pinged every 2 minutes until they respond to that message. That can be really annoying, obviously. But if it is urgent, it absolutely does what it says on the tin. Okay. You've also got the option to attach documents to messages. So if I wanted to attach a document, I can click on the attachment icon. I can go to my OneDrive, or I can go and upload it from my PC. So I can go and find the document that I want to upload, and then I can then go and basically pick that document and attach it to this conversation from there. Okay, just double click on the document, open, and it attaches it, and I can send it to there. We've also got some smileys, some emojis. Click on the emojis. There's a whole list of emojis in there. Pictures paint 1,000 words and all that, don't they? You'll be really comfortable with those. GIFs as well. You can use GIFs if you want to. And again, just be mindful of what you're posting with my HR hat on. Don't put anything on there that's kind of, you know, inappropriate, etc., or that's going to offend or upset anybody. They also do stickies. Again, this is something that I would never use, to be quite honest. But again, there's some bits and pieces in there if you wanted to use them. Don't worry about some of the other stuff on here, stuff that we've got in our environment that we won't tune on yet in Titarian. But it just gives you, you know, the option to put messages and stuff in. Can you also see that if there's a message, if you hover over the message, we've got some little emojis in here as well that we use quite a lot. You know, thumbs up to go, yeah, okay, I've seen it, I've read it. So you can thumbs up a message or whatever. And also more ellipses under this one. Click on those ellipses, and we've got some more functionality. We can save this message, and I'll show you where it saves later. We can edit it, we can delete it, we can mark it as unread. We can share it to an Outlook email. Immersive Reader is an accessibility function, so that's for sight impaired colleagues, for example, so it would read it out loud. And again, these are poly, so this is different. This is not attached to ours. So if I wanted to just delete this message, I can go in and I can delete it. Okay, it will tell you that a message has been deleted in that chat. All right, so it doesn't go completely. It will show that there was a message there. All right. So at the top of this chat, you can also see these other things, so file organization, etc. So files will be shared files that I've shared with that individual or that group. So, you know, if I did an attachment, that attachment I can still access, or we can access between us via the files button. Organization is our structure chart. Okay. And then activity just shows literally all the conversations that Amber and I have both been a part of. Again, that's quite handy. That's quite handy. Okay, and again, you've got that pop out arrow there. So if I wanted to pop this chat out, I've got a pop out arrow there. All right. Any questions so far? Are you still with me? Does that look straightforward? Best thing to do for guys is, as I said before, is to use it, right? Because the more you use it, the easier this is going to get. But if you're used to Skype, if you're used to Messenger, if you're used to WhatsApp, it's very, very similar in terms of functionality. The benefit of this over the other one is that over Skype, as in the other one, is it's persistent. So this chat doesn't disappear overnight. You know, you've got access to it ongoing. Look, so Kaylee's, can you see Kaylee's responded? So Kaylee's picked up my message that I sent over. There we go. Cool. Cheers, Kaylee. Awesome. All right, so I get a notification that that's, if I'm not in Teams, I'll get a little blue box that pops up on the bottom of my screen, because that's what I've set up for my notifications, and it tells me that I've got a chat message. The other thing that I will get is if I show you, I can't show you in a minute. I'll show you when we come out of here, is I get, because the deck is behind it. So is on my toolbar where my Teams button is I get, you know, the Teams icon and then a number 5, because there are 5 things in here that I haven't looked at yet. So you'll see it on your toolbar as well, if there's stuff that you need to go and look at. Okay, so that's chat. That's it. That's how it works. All right, let's go and have a little look at calls. So your calls icon, like I say, this is kind of your icons to click in to get into stuff. So within your Teams environment, you've got calls functionality. So basically, if I want, very seldom do I use this, if truth be told. If I'm going to talk to somebody, normally I go through chat, and I talk to the same people a lot. And I literally go find their picture, hover over their picture, open their business card, and I call them that way. It's the quickest. If it's somebody I haven't spoken to for ages, so for example, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into calls, and I can go and have a look at my contact lists. All right. So basically, what I can do in here is I can create my own contacts lists, etc. But and I can add contacts in. Can you see that? I've got an option to add contacts over here, or I can find people on my list over here. It's alphabetical on my list. You can see I've got some of your colleagues in, so Angela's in here, and I can email Angela directly from here. Can't call her directly from here, but because she's a guest, as same with Kaylee. Kaylee should be on my list down here somewhere as well, because Kaylee is a, oh, you on here? No, because I haven't emailed you out of Teams, that's why. So if you've got guests in your Titarian environment, then they will come up on your list. So to add a contact, really straightforward. All I need to do is add a colleague's name, start typing their name, click on their name, add. Okay, so Alan will now, I say my Teams has been really slow today, which is really random. Alan will then get added to my list eventually, normally quicker than this, but he will then be able to show up on my list like that. And again, what you can see here, so we get Aphrodite. So it gives me her job title, gives me her, well, that's our office phone number. And again, from here, I can create a chat with her. I can send her an email from here. I can set up a call straight away. I don't have Teams up on the iPad, and I'll pick that up now. Okay, sorry, just the message opened and then closed again. I can video call her. I can call her on her phone. I can also take her off my speed dial this way. I can remove her as a contact. All right, so again, ellipses, wherever there's the 3 dots, the ellipses, click on the buttons. Okay, and what I've got here again, I can just start typing in a colleague's name, and they'll come up on my list. So from here, I can type in Alan's name and I can call him. Just clicking call here. All right, and I can see all my speed dials over here. So they're little icons over here. These are all the speed dials I've set up. ellipses again, look, so I can add people to my speed dial list. I can also see all the calls that I've had. So these are calls in Teams. So I spoke to Henry this morning, etc. So you can see all the calls that you've had. You can select by missed calls. You can select by incoming calls. Voicemail. In 3 years, I've got one voicemail message. If somebody's not available, don't tend to leave a voicemail, if truth be told, but you have got voicemail functionality in Teams if you want to set that up and use it. Okay. So there we go. Also, I can filter by name or by phone number, contact details in there. Like I say, all you need to do in kind of calls is click around and find out how it works. All right. Okay, cool. Right, let me pick up that message. Kirk, hold on a minute. Yeah, you won't have Teams yet. You will have, because Kirk will download it. Yeah, all the functionality will be downloaded to your iPads, because moving over to 365, and we'll give you a Teams icon, a button, and a Yammer icon as well. So you'll have it all on your iPads. And also on phones as well. Leanne, I'm assuming all staff in Titarium will be on our contacts list from day one. Yeah. How will this function work across those migrated to 365 and those still on Skype? Okay, good question, Leanne. So temporarily, what will happen is you will only get your colleagues who have been moved to Teams in Teams. Okay, and you will only be able to call those people who are in Teams internally. Okay, so Paul and I have had a conversation this morning about whether or not we retain Skype for you whilst you also have Teams, and the jury's out on that a minute. I think what we want to do is try it, and if it's been a real pain in the neck, then we can give you Skype back temporarily until everybody else has switched over. But I'd be interested to hear your views on that. If you want to sort of ping me in chat. The feedback that I've had has been mixed so far. So a lot of people have said, actually, we just email each other. We're not using Skype very much, etc. If that's not the case for you and you're using Skype loads, then we need a conversation. But basically, when you're in Teams and your colleagues aren't, you've not got that. You're in different systems. You're in different applications. So they can't see that you're available. They can't see your diary. You can't see if they're available. You can't see their diaries. You can't send them a Teams chat because they're not in Teams. You can't phone them on Teams because they're not in Teams. Okay, so giving you Teams access means that you can, as DCs, have a play with it and talk to other digital champions. But yeah, so Leanne, we're not going to put you, Siobhan or Candice, I think I sent you an email and called the three of you out, into Teams or into 365 right, until we send put the rest of the call center through, on the basis that it will work for you collectively.
Okay, fine.
Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, with a view that, yeah, we'd have a nightmare if you couldn't talk to everybody the same way.
That was where I started to panic.
yeah, no, don't panic, don't panic, that's fine. No, we've already called that out. Yeah, so I was looking at the list of who we're going to move when over the next few days, and yeah, we've already highlighted the three of you in red to go, do not move.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool.
That's great.
All right, no worries. Okay, let's talk about meetings and some of this functionality that you'll already be familiar with. So to set up a team meeting, okay, Natalie, I'll pick up your question first. Ladies with contractors and set up meetings would need to be able to view calendars and access to Skype. Okay, all right. Meeting with someone who's not on Teams and he was able to access the meeting, but could phone me via Teams. Okay. Before I had access to Teams, I was able to access Teams to meetings going through the browser. Yeah, absolutely. So if you set up a meeting in Teams with your colleagues and you are hosting it, then they can access it via the browser. So they come in, when you first come into Teams and you get an option to download the app or to access via the browser, and I'm guessing lots of you are still accessing via the browser anyway, then they will have exactly the same experience as you did. So you can set up that meeting. Nobody else can set up that meeting. You can set it up and access Teams. They can access Teams through that meeting. That's absolutely fine. That will work. We've got to tweak the settings for Titarian. So Paul sent me a meeting request for a meeting this morning that we did. I couldn't get into that meeting because at the moment it's been set up internally, as it were. So I tried to join that meeting that Paul set up, and it said I wasn't allowed access because I'm not a Titarian employee, basically. So I then had to send him a meeting request because ours are open to allow everybody to join, and do it that way. But Paul will tweak the settings that we've got for Teams, so it means that external people are able to join those meetings. Okay. But yeah, Gail, if you wanted to do it that way, that's fine. You could do it. You could do it that way round, as an alternative. But yeah, we're going to have a couple of weeks of inconvenience, to be perfectly honest, whilst we get everybody into a Teams environment. So okay, I'm going to do. Here we go. Let's put you guys up there. All right, we're going to do meetings. Let me just show you what you'll see in Outlook in setting up a team meeting, and we'll look at this again when we do Outlook. But let me just show you. Okay, so everybody can see my calendar. I can't see you guys now because you're on my other screen. Let me just move you down here a minute. Okay, right, so here's my calendar. What a mess it is. And what we've got here is a little icon. Can you see here? I've got a Meet Now icon, and I've got a new Teams meeting icon. If I want to create a new Teams meeting, I can either click in here. It will open up. Oops, up you go. It will open up my meeting automatically as a Teams meeting. Okay, so I can create that meeting, send it over. Everyone's got the link. All right. Alternatively, that's the quickest way. Nope, simple changes. If I've already started, I've gone in this way to create a meeting. So I've clicked on the meeting icon instead. I can still now convert this to a Teams meeting because I've still got that little Teams icon on my ribbon bar. Okay, so I can go in there and I can create a Teams meeting. So all I've got to do is click on the meeting icon on my toolbar to create a Teams meeting. So that's all you have to do to set that up with your colleagues. All right. Nope, it's not seeing my changes. Okay, let's shift this screen up here then. There you all are. Okay. I'm going to close down the chat a minute so you can have a little look. All right, so you're all getting familiar with the functionality in these meetings now, I hope. So let's just talk through some of these icons and stuff that we've got in here. So starting with the participants. So if I click on the participants little icon, the little people icon here, all right, I can see everybody who's in this call. So I get a list to pop up on my window there. I can see everybody's on the call. Okay. And who's in it. I can also, again, can you see ellipses, ellipses, ellipses? So if I click in here, 3 little ellipses in here, from here, I can download an attendance list. So if I need to know after a call who's in that meeting, I can download an attendance list now, or I can do it at the end of the meeting or after the meeting as well. It doesn't matter when I do it, but I've got access to that. I can manage permissions in this meeting because this is my meeting, so I've got access to manage permissions. So that opens up, let me just show you. When I do that, and when you set up a meeting, this gives me access to a screen, which gives me my meetings options. So who can bypass the lobby, so you're not sitting waiting to be allowed into a meeting. Then I can change that. Those settings in there, I've got a range of options. Your default setting is that only people in your organization will be able to bypass the lobby. If you want to change that for a particular meeting, you need to go in and change that option. I'll show you how to do that now. Right. So that's on the drop down there. So you can also do announcements. That gets annoying in big meetings, so I would turn off announcements if you've got a big meeting. You can also change who's got the option to present. So people in my organisation, guests, specific people, or only me. Mics and cameras. You can set up automatic recording if you want to. I wouldn't do that. I would always do, a recording with the permission of everybody in the session. And meeting chat, you can take meeting chat off if you want to. Again, it's not something that I would recommend that you do, or you could do in meeting only, so the chat disappears after the meeting. Again, enabled is normally the best option, and that's the default setting for you guys. And the reactions bit again, you know, that's your emojis and stuff, and the thumbs up, and I'll show you those again in a minute. So you can set that up in here. So when I click on the what was called managing permissions, that's what opens. Now, when you're setting up your meeting, you can change those options if you want to. So I'll just show you that. So again, if I go back into my calendar, all right, and if I want to create a meeting, let's find a gap where I can create a meeting. So I double clicked in my calendar to open my meeting. I'm going to create a Teams meeting. Right, can you see the meeting options button there? So if I click on meeting options button there, that will open that screen we've just looked at. So the one that pops up and opens in the browser. So I need to control and click. There we go. So there we go. It's going to open those options up. So prior to the meeting, I can change those settings if I want to. Okay. There we go. No changes saved. Close all these down. There we go. All right then. So also in here, this is where my mute everybody button is when I needed to do that. That's why you've all got your mutes on. I can click on somebody who's got Candice's details. I can click into here. And the other thing I can do, right, Kaylee, I'm going to use you as my guinea pig again. Sorry, hun. Where are you? Right, Kaylee, there we go. I can spotlight Kaylee. So I can pin Kaylee so she stays on my screen. Right, so Kaylee, there she is, look. Okay. I can also spotlight Kaylee, which again means that if Kaylee's talking in a meeting and we want to pull her picture forward, then that's how we do it, by spotlighting her. Okay, so I'll unpin you now. I'll be glad to hear. I'll stop spotlighting you as well. And can you see on the bottom of the screen, really small there, Kaylee's got an extra little icon there to show that she's being spotlighted. And again, I can click on the icons this side as well and stop spotlighting from here. All right, there we go. There, so I'm more comfortable, Kaylee. I know it's a bit of a like, everyone can see me. All right, I can also, if Kaylee's misbehaving, right, I can also remove her from the meeting. So I've never had to do that, I'm glad to say, but because schools use Teams a lot, you can actually take people out. It's the whole old Jackie thingy cut weaver thing, isn't it? You know, you can actually physically take people out there. If you saw that over the summer, the whole Jackie, you know, you can't remove them from the meeting stuff. Almost entertaining, but you can actually remove people from the meeting. All right, so that's participants. So I close that down by just clicking the arrow. We've got our chat. I think everybody's got the hang of chat now. So again, we've got the icons and stuff. Hands up. Is everybody okay with hands up? So if somebody wants to ask a question, not only is it hands up now, you've got these other icons. If you hover over that little button, that little icon with the hands up, and you click on one of them, feel free to click one, whatever you want to, and you'll see. Oh, is my screen frozen? All right. Oh no, I can see. Hold on. Let me do 2 seconds. I'll stop sharing and reshare again in a minute. There we go. Right, tell me if you've got it back. Is that all right? Oh, the dog started. Oh, your it wasn't frozen on my screen, Kaylee. It was fine. All right, does everybody see these icons here? Okay, cool. Thanks, Leanne. So if you want to click on a little icon, you can do thumbs up and you'll see them on the screen. So if any of you want to sort of click on some things and you'll see them pop up on my screen. So there we go. Kurt's got his hand up. So if you want to ask a question in a meeting, if you've got a big meeting and somebody wants to ask a question, the hands up thing works really well. And then if it's your call, this becomes really easy to manage because Kurt, can you put your hand up again for me? And also, Kath, can you do a hands up for me? Kaylee, so if a couple of you can do it, can you see? People will pop up to my list. There we go. And it's in order of people putting their hands up. So it means that if everybody wants to contribute, I know what orders, chair of the meeting, as it were, I know what order those hands have gone up. So I can start with Kirk, work my way through the list down to Kath. All right. And then you are able to take your hand down by, again, clicking on it and closing it down, or I can do it as well. All right. So I can take Natalie, leave yours on a minute. Oh, yeah. So if I go here, click on the ellipses, I can do a lower hand and that will take your hand down. OK, so I can control it as well from this side. And you can do that on not only as the kind of presenter or the owner of the meeting, you'll be able to put other people's hands down if somebody else has created that meeting for you, for example. OK, but yeah, you can do the whole applause thing and that pops up on the screen. So have a play with the buttons. Feel free to click stuff. Breakout rooms, we've had a little go at that, but let me show you what it looks like from this side. So basically, if I wanted to create some breakout rooms because we're doing a session with multiple people, I can select how many rooms I want to create, how many I want to add. I can do an automatic assignment or manual.
It's frozen again, sorry.
Oh, is it? OK, thanks for letting me know. I just think my internet is dodgy again today. I'll go to switch the router off in a minute. OK, repeat back on the screen. Here we are. OK, so yeah, so you can choose how many breakout rooms you want. It's much quicker to allocate people automatically than it is manually. If this is useful for people to use, let me know. We'll do a separate 10 minutes on it. OK, so Kaylee, we might want to just have a run through it. For example, it's really good for training, but if you're doing workshops and that kind of thing, let me know. Just ping me a message and I'll do a 10-minute kind of session on that rather than show everybody, because not everybody would need to necessarily know how that all works. And then there are more actions buttons. So if you click on the ellipses again, you can see I get a big drop down menu. So on here, if you want to change your screen background, so if you want to click on your ellipses and you want to change your background.
It's frozen again.
Oh, this is a nightmare, isn't it? Every time I show you, I open something, it's freezing. Right, try again. Quick, there we go. Right. So is it frozen again? That's all right. Can you see this? Yeah, fab. Thanks, Joseph. OK, so if you want to change your background, feel free, click on the ellipses, apply background effects, feel free to have a play. And there will be a number of background effects that you can choose.
Again.
Oh God, see, all right, just follow my instructions and have a play. It's all right, thanks for letting me know, it's really helpful. So if you click on those ellipses on the top of your toolbar, select background settings, and you'll see a load of pictures, and you can change your background if you want to. You can just do a blur, or you can they've got some very random ones in there as well. It's never usually this clunky. All right, but that's under there, so you can have a play and change your background settings and apply background effects. In here as well is also where you do turn your recordings on and off. And you can also do live captions. Again, if I click on this, it's probably going to, there we go, Gail's changed her background. She's somewhere in the outer universe. Great place to be, Gail. Don't blame you. We have all sorts of random stuff on ours. I've got to be honest. We don't tend to use it with clients, but internally, all hell breaks loose. From here, this is where I can start and stop recording as well. We've also got a transcription and live caption buttons. So if you've got somebody on the call who is hearing impaired and is going to struggle with obviously engaging with everybody, you can turn on live captions and they will subtitle what's being said. The quality is really good, actually. It's got better over time, and it's pretty good now. It's good fun trying to confuse it. Sometimes it struggles with really strong accents, like my colleague David, who's Scottish. He sometimes struggles with his accent. Seems to be all right with the Welsh accent, so we should be all good with that, guys, hopefully. And also you can do things like set large gallery view. So again, this might do freeze my screen again. Joseph, has it frozen it? No, okay. So this is a different view. So if you've got lots of people on the call, guys, people who've got their cameras off, if you can turn them on a minute, it will show you. We can get everybody's picture on the screen. If you're on a machine with a camera, because I know that some of you may not be. There we go. All right. So the actual number of people you can see on a call is 49 now. which is pretty good. Stay with your cameras on. I'm also going to show you a really random view, which is very odd, but I mean, some people go with it. And I think, again, this is more a university thing. There we go. How random is that? Can everybody see that? Is it again, hopefully my screen's not frozen. So you've got all these bizarre backgrounds. There's like a university kind of lecture theatre one. And yeah, it just, it's all very bizarre. But hey, it depends on what you like to do and how you like to see it. Okay. Not my favourite. I was going to go for a gallery view. And did you see then there was a change scene button there? Sorry, let me go back to together mode. Let's put us all back in a random, and you can change the scene. So I then get to select a scene. So there's the auditorium one. There we go. Still got that. Can you see the auditorium view? So hopefully my screen's not just frozen. No, it's frozen again. 2 secs. Honestly. Oh, it depends what we've turned on, Gail. I think we've turned it all on though. I've got to be honest. I'll have a look. I'll check in with Paul, but I think you should. It depends as well, because I've got the most. I've got is it an alpha or beta version of Teams? So whenever there's new functionality, we get access to it at FSP. So this is the stuff that comes down the line then slightly later with everybody else. But yeah, there's all sorts of random views that you can have in terms of Teams. Okay, but like I said, you know, the thing to do is to kind of click around. Meeting options is another one. Again, I don't know if you can see this, guys, because with the frozen screen thing going on. And that's the other view of seeing when you're in the meeting of what we looked at in the browser. All right, you'll all know. One of the other things to be aware of, that if you are ending the call and you have guests on the call and you want to end the call so they don't have access, if you click on the little downy arrow by the leave button, you get the option to end the meeting, which kicks everybody out. All right, so if you've got people on the call external and you're thinking, all right, I can't leave until they've all left, you can just end the meeting and that will do that for you. Okay, screen's frozen again. Sorry guys, we're going to call a halt to this shortly. Just one more thing I want to show you, and that's screen share when it works properly. So all right, the last one is, and every time it opens my puts you on my other screen. So this button here is the screen share button. So what you've got in there is an arrow pointing up. So when you click on the screen share button, they will show you options. If you're working off multiple monitors, it will show you the different monitors you're working off, or it will show you different documents, etc. you've got open. So you can choose then what you're sharing. At the moment, I tend to share like my whole desktop and stuff like that, because I'm flipping between different applications and stuff when we deliver these sessions. So yeah, so there we go. And obviously I can see everybody else is on the call. Again, I can, if these were my colleagues on the call, I can hover over the little buttons and I can see, again, I could message Matt directly from here, because I've got a little button option there to do that. So if it's internal, you can message people directly. I don't know if I can do it with Kaylee. Kaylee, where are you? Where are you on my screen there? Let me do it. No, I need to find you on my list. Come on, show me the other 10. Oh, too many people in the call. Okay. But if I say if Emma was internal with me, then I could message Emma from in here. All right. Okay, and that's kind of it with meetings in Teams. Has anybody got? See if you're looking for it yourselves. Has anybody got any questions? I will still stop with Teams voice video. Chat okay? We happy with how all that works? Like I said, you know, I would always go and use chat to find people. I use calls, the call sort of section in a very limited way in terms of when I'm engaging. And the Teams meeting functionality is really straightforward. It's just click on the buttons, have a play with it. We'll do some sessions as well where when you guys are in Teams, where we can, you know, I'll get you to sort of practice doing various bits and pieces in terms of the functionality, which is better when it's in your environment than when you're trying to do it in an FSP environment. But there we go. All right, all good. Any questions? I'll start recording now. Was there anything